Hello everyone, my name is Sushi and today I want to show you guys some of my old builds that I either finished or didn't finish, and just kind of show you guys where I started building and where it's gone from there. I know one of you was asking about my profile picture, and yes, this is the pagoda that I built for it. This is honestly what my best mega build I've ever made, and it's the only one that I've ever made. And I just kind of sat down and took my time with it and just made this huge structure, and I liked it so much I decided to use it as my profile picture. So I know one of you guys was asking about it, and this is what it is. This is what my profile picture is. After that, you saw some of my terrain projects. This is where I really started to get into terrain, and that's still one of my favorite things to build today is terrain. Mountains and just valleys, and this kind of oriental building on top of a mountain with some sakura trees that coming off the edge and a little river. I was just experimenting and trying to see what I liked best. Honestly, sometimes I think that I was a better builder back then than I am now. Some of these builds are just really well made, and I took my time on them a lot. Like this one right here is the front of a huge mansion that I was gonna make, and I really like it. It turned out really well, and I never got to finish like the back and stuff, but for the most part it just looks very well made to me. And same with some of these trees and some of these older builds that I made, they look very well made. So maybe I need to take a look to the past before I go and start building more stuff, because there's some techniques that I use here that I kind of forgot about. This project right here was supposed to be a huge waterfall, as you can see, with a river running down it, and I really wanted to finish this project. I don't know why I never got to it. Maybe I just got unmotivated, or I don't remember why I stopped this project. But yeah, this is where I started using concept for glass as water, just because it looks like waves. It really looks more like water, and I really like what I did here with this. This is something that a technique that I've actually used many times, is kind of like layering wool with different glass textures and then changing them afterwards and making this really cool water texture, and also good for waterfalls too. So I might come back to this project actually, because it's really well made and I really like this one. So when I applied for a member on Builder's Refuge and got this huge plot of land that I could build on, this is where I really started to just go ham with all of my build projects. On my own server that I was running off my computer, it was very laggy and very hard to do stuff sometimes. But with Builder's Refuge, my options were limitless. This is one of the first terrain pieces I ever made on the server, and I just used every technique I learned from my old build server and just made this huge like foresty area with some small streams and these huge mountains, and then they're surrounded by some copy and pasted lily pads and some rocks around the edge. This is one of my favorite terrains that ever came out of my old building era, was this one. After this one, I actually created another piece of terrain, which is this one right here. This one was similar to that one. I made like a little bonsai tree on top of this mountain. I wasn't really planning on putting anything on this terrain. I just kind of wanted to make terrain to make terrain. So this one's more of a rocky, mountainous terrain, and that one's more of a flat forest terrain. And I just kept on building these huge terrain projects. This mountain terrain build right here, honestly, is one of my favorite builds that I've ever made. It's huge, and I used so much cool texturing and cool commands that just made this mountain really pop. Like it looked like a really cool thing that if it could be in Minecraft, just this huge towering mountain that you may have to climb, and like a boss at the top or something. But just this cool concept. And there's a couple more just terrain that I never was able to finish, and just practicing making these cool, I don't know what's wrong with my render distance right now, just these cool terrain things. After terrain, I started to really get into organics, and you saw, if you've seen my other videos, I had a time lapse of building. There was Geralt and Ciri, and these are the first two organics that I've ever made, and they turned out really well for being the first two. There's a couple more projects like this one that I never finished, where I was planning on building a huge castle right here and then having it on the edge of a giant waterfall. This right here was my attempt at a fortress from The Witcher 3 when you go to Skellig. I think it's called Caer Trolde. And this one was one of my first failed attempts at building anything. It just turned out really ugly. I couldn't get it right, and I really tried hard to make it work. And you know, it looks okay, but there's some, I just, after a while of building this, I just gave up. I'm like, I'm not gonna delete it or anything, but I don't like this build, and I would rather just redo it than try to do anything on it. And other than that, this is kind of where I stopped building on Builder's Refuge. After these few projects over here, I just kind of stopped and made another build server where I will show you now is where all my most recent builds are, and that's where I'm kind of building everything right now. After Builder's Refuge, I wanted to make another one of my own build servers, just in case, you know, if Builder's Refuge ever shut down or anything like that. I just kind of want all my very important builds on my server. So this is where I started my first project, and you know, I was never able to really get too far in it. You guys saw the first 2 videos I made on this project was building my entire neighborhood in Minecraft. And you know, I'm definitely thinking of starting this project back up again. You know, I really wanted to finish this project. It's just I didn't have the time and I lost motivation for it. But there's so many projects on the server that I also didn't finish. Here's another project that I really wanted to do where I was going to make like construction workers. Because that was my first job that I ever did, was actually a construction worker. So I was gonna make a guy with a jackhammer drilling into the ground, and then this guy was gonna be holding a hammer or something. And you know, just a project that I never got around to finishing, but you know, it was a very good idea, and I got the beginnings of it down, and I think it looks pretty well. I know I've been talking about a very big build project that I've been working on for a while, and I'm still working on it. I'm still steadily adding to it. It's just I've been extremely busy, so I haven't been able to get it out as fast as I wanted to, but it's still being worked on, and I'm still planning on releasing it, you know, pretty soon. So I'll keep making videos like this in the meantime. Just, you know, I would like to just show you guys stuff and show you all the cool stuff I've been working on. So this is, you know, kind of what I've been doing recently, is just some of these build projects I've just been working on. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm about to go on Thanksgiving break, so I won't be able to make videos then, but I guess I'll see you guys after. So have a great Thanksgiving break, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.